One thing that was interesting for me when Nick asked me to speak today was I thought it wasn't that long ago since I worked at UKA. Proof that I'm getting old. It's been quite a while since I worked at UKA, but I loved it. It was one of my first roles when I came into sports marketing and specifically sponsorship. So it's really nice now with where I'm at to actually come back, and it kind of feels a little bit like going full circle. But one thing I've learned is that times have very much changed. Athletics definitely isn't what it used to be. Better, without a doubt. So what I'm keen to try and go through with all of you today is just have a look at what are the things you can do when you're running your competitions, your events? How can you try and connect with your audience and try and get more people involved and engaged? So the whistle is to say this is going to be a very quick whistle-stop tour. I may have a little bit longer, but bear with me. So, quick overview. Sports marketing and comms consultant. Up until June this year, I was head of Marcoms, head of marketing communications at Women in Football. That's an organisation that represents all women who work in the game. But as mentioned, many moons ago, I joined UK Athletics in their sponsorship team and worked there for a couple of years, and then went on to work for Intersport, the LMA, League Managers Association, and various other organisations and NGBs. So what I'm going to look at first of all is, and again, can't do what I was quite going to do, I was going to ask you who your target audiences are. And if any of you actually, how often do you take a step back? And I know it's really hard. When you're volunteers, you're manic. You're often trying to do your other job. So when you're doing this, this is in your free time. So how much time do you really have to take a step back and really think about how can I improve what I'm doing? How can I make life easier for myself? You don't have that time. But if you did, one thing I would say to do is to think, who are your target audiences, okay? And there are billions, and I say billions, probably a little bit of an exaggeration, but there are lots more than you see on this screen. This is very much top level. So 3 key audiences that I've identified: young athletes, parents, and the fans themselves, okay? I know if I asked you, if I had a bit more time, I'd probably try and do more of a breakout and get some chat about this. You'll know who your audience are, but do you know them all? And do you know how to connect with them, more importantly? Now, I know from sitting on our table, you all know what the challenges are. You all know this is the digital world now. So again, when I worked at UKA, social media was nowhere near what it is today. But it is vital in today's world. And if you really want to grow an event and you want to develop it as much as you possibly can, you need to be able to connect with all of your audiences. And irrespective of age, digital is the way you need to be going, in my opinion. So if we start, first of all, this is just a quick top-line overview of what the differences are between those audiences. So if we're looking at young athletes, you all know TikTok. Everyone's talking about TikTok. Snapchat. All the youngsters are on Snapchat. They're all checking TikTok. They're putting their own videos on there. Every young athlete is an influencer in their own way. They have their own content. They want to be out there. Are they where you are? No. Are they where a lot of organisations are? No. Do you need to be on all of them? No. But some of them are useful. So what I would say is first point of call, website. And you can see that's across all 3 audiences. Now, again, you're a volunteer, most of you. Have you got time and the money to actually create a website? You probably haven't. That's the realistic side of it here. Another option you can do, which we'll come on to, set up a Facebook page. Now, yes, that won't appeal to the young athletes, but it will connect with the parents and the athletics fans, and it's much quicker and easier to set up. But the website, there are ways to get that set up without you having to do it, again, which I'll come on to. Parents and athletics fans, traditionally they're a little bit older. Now actually some of the young athletes you're working with, their parents are still going to be that younger age group that they will be on TikTok. They may even be on Snapchat. So they will be interested in that. Instagram, much higher percentage of your parents will be on Insta as well. So it's something worth thinking about. How can you promote your competition? And that's what I want you all to think about. When we talk about communicating with your audiences, it's also about celebrating what you do. You put a lot of time and effort and a lot of passion into what you do. Celebrate it. Get the word out there. Let others see how good your events are. That will help promote it and hopefully bring more people in. In addition to the website being the core across all of them, parents and athletics fans newsletter. Again, it takes time. You don't have to do it every week. In fact, I'd say don't do it every week. It's too much. People have enough emails. But when you've got your competitions on, when it's coming at the start of the season, or when your athletes are planning, what am I going to be doing next season? Think about it then. Plan in 2, 3, it can be once every 2 months. It doesn't have to be a lot. You just want to be able to celebrate what you're doing and make your audience aware this exists. This is an opportunity for you. So bear that in mind. A newsletter can be really simple and straightforward. Again, parents, Facebook gets added in. We were talking about this on the table. We know parents, the older fans, they're on Facebook. It's a useful portal to be able to communicate with people, and it's easy to manage. And again, then, if you go to athletics fans, you add a couple of other channels. Across young athletes and athletics fans, YouTube. You guys have some great potential content. Amazing. And you have content for potential athletes down the line that if you gather it now, you then have it down the line when they are going to the nationals, when they are on TV. Try and get it. And the quality of phones now, you can get it on your phone, you know, and you can get a little menopause brain, thank you for getting the words, tripod to put your phone onto. So you can actually get static, a video that is staying still so that it looks good quality. It is easy to get this content. Okay, so then, why do we need to share? Why do we need this content? First of all, if you want people to come, you have to make them aware that it exists. You have to tell them what you have, what you're offering. So awareness is key. Every marketing campaign for every organisation, awareness is at the heart of it, building that awareness. Reputation management. For a lot of you, you have your own reputation as a coach. You need to build that up, but your event is key. You have to build a positive, strong reputation for your event. Celebrating success, as I said, use this to actually shout about what you're doing. It's also about growing your customer base and, naturally, income generation. We all know within athletics, certainly grassroots athletics, there's no money. So how can you develop what you're doing if you don't bring more money in? And you won't want to charge people who don't have money and they're struggling and a parent's got 3 children and they're going to all different things. How can you make that work? But there are other parents who can afford it. And there are sponsors, there are organisations who have a CSR budget, a corporate social responsibility budget. When you go into the corporate world, those CSR budgets, they don't have KPIs that say, you must give me a return on investment. So think about things like this. You can go to a local organisation and talk to them about CSR. Some of these local organisations may not even have thought about it, but just say, this is something we can promote in the local press. You don't need a lot, just a little bit, and it can help deliver an event. So there are other ways of doing it, but yes, you need someone to spend the time doing it. Then, ask for help. You don't have to do it alone. And I know it may feel like you do, and it's probably because most of the time you are. Even when you do have the other volunteers, as we were talking about earlier, they don't always do what they say they're going to do. So then it comes back to you and you end up doing it. But there are other opportunities out there to get that support. But it's not the parents. All of you will naturally be going to the parents. Yes, you need them. They're vital for your volunteer base. But there are so many students currently studying sport management, sport business, media, journalism, photography. All of these courses, and all of them know when they graduate, they are in a really highly competitive situation that they have to stand out from the crowd. So they have to be able to show something different on their CV, on their LinkedIn profile, so that when a potential employer is looking, they go, they really are passionate. They are going to put the work in. They're committed. So they want these volunteering opportunities that give them the opportunity to show what they're good at. So use them. It will take some time, but once you can create that mini database of local universities, just the standard info email address, the local colleges, local athletics clubs, you reach out to them all and you say, right, we've got some opportunities coming up at these events. We're looking for a community manager. Community manager is someone who wants to manage Facebook, Instagram, who wants to create content. It sounds great. On a CV, it looks amazing that I am the community manager for this athletic club, for this event. For them, it looks brilliant. You can up their title, you don't care, but it looks good for them. And if they've done it for 3 years, 4 years while they're at uni, that's what a future employer is looking for. It's consistency. And then they can look at your social media channels and see the content they've created. So it's a great opportunity for them. Photography, videography. You don't have to create those videos. There are so many youngsters out there and students who want the opportunity to come along to an event, get in front of the camera, create their own content. They'll go away and edit it. You tell them what you want it to say on the front. If you've got a logo, give it to them. They'll brand it up. They'll use your colours if you have them. They will make it look good, and then they will promote it for you. All you have to do is that initial legwork of finding them by contacting those unis. And I really do mean this. There are so many students who are looking for these opportunities. You may have missed on, I went by it quite quick, on the slide about me. I'm also the co-founder of a WhatsApp group called Sports Biz Midlands. I worked in football. There's a guy who's a corporate affairs director at Brentford FC. He moved to my hometown, which is an hour from here, Leamington. He didn't know anyone. He was Scottish. Brentford's board member was our board member at Women in Football, connected the two of us, and we ended up setting up Sports Biz Midlands because he said, how do I connect with other people who work in sport around the Midlands? We haven't done a lot. It's a WhatsApp group. We've got about 200 members across all sports, and we have lots of students. So we accept anyone who works in sport or who aspires to work in sport. These opportunities are there. Then let's move on. I know a lot of you will be focused on your competitions. You know what you need to do. It's the practicalities. And that's what's important. That's what you need to do. But again, if you really want to try and grow it, and you may not want to, but if you want to try and grow it, then try and create an experience. Think about other sports and what they do. Think about the athletics events that you go along to and you go, I really enjoyed that. What do they do differently? If you have time to go to many other ones, obviously when your athletes are competing, you will go along to others. What have they done to make their event stand out? And there's a whole host of things that you can do. Event website, Facebook page, obviously that first point of call. Q&A with a coach or an athlete. Doesn't have to be an athlete. So remember, if you just get a coach who's coached for you in the past, who you've met from another club, who has coached an athlete who's gone on to do well, see if they'll come along and do a Q&A. Most of them, they'll do it free of charge. If they've got the time, they'll help you out. By doing that, it encourages more people to come along. You can also do it where it's a paid-for thing, that it's £5 for coaches to come along and listen to them. Doesn't have to make a lot of money, but it's a little way to bring some extra money in. Meet and greets, again, if you've got any athletes who have gone on to do well, use them. Most athletes will be grateful for what you've done for them, so they will be willing to give back. Networking opportunities, again, in these situations, athletes want to network with others, but so do coaches. So think about, and parents will want to as well, think about what you can do to actually create those opportunities. And it may just be that you say, our event's on tomorrow, but we're meeting in this local pub at 7 o'clock the night before. If you can build that community, you might get some more volunteers out of it as well. So there's the added benefits of doing things like this. Activities for children. Those students that I talked about, you'll have students who are interested in art and design, and they'll be wanting to do digital design, and they'll want to work on your website. They'll want to create content for your social channels. They'll also probably be quite happy to do face painting on kids, because they're into design. And there's a lot of things like that. And there might be parents who say, actually, I'm pretty good at that. You do face painting, you charge £2, £2.50 a go. You throw some in for free when you need to. Again, it's a little bit more money that can come in. It doesn't have to be big money, but it helps. Food and drink stands, I don't know how many of you do this, but again, depending on the size of your event, there are lots of food and beverage organisations who will pay to take space at events. If they know there's a certain number of visitors going, spectators, athletes, get them along. They can pay for it, but they pay you a fee just to be there. Event photographer and event videographer. Again, you don't have to pay for a professional. You can go to those unis and you will work with the teacher, the lecturer, for the photography course, the media course. They will provide some, and often you'll get 2 or 3 who will come along because they feel more comfortable when there's more than one of them. So they will work on creating that content for you. You then have it, and then you can promote your future events. So trying to think about not just promoting this event, but gathering content that helps you promote future events. That can really be positive and useful down the line. Branded backdrops for medal presentations. That's more thinking if you want to get sponsors on, see if you can get a local printer to sponsor you, but they provide their product free of charge. But in exchange for that, they get their logo on what you're creating. They get their logo on your newsletter. They get their logo on a program, which they print. There's different ways you can make money and get what we call VIK, value in kind. Fun photo opportunities. Again, if you've got a printer on board as a local sponsor, get printouts of life-size athletes that you know athletes will want to have their photo taken with. Things like that you can do that's just a bit of fun. And then again, live event coverage online. If you get those community manager students, they can go online and on Twitter, on X, or Threads, or whatever channel is the one that's current at the moment, they can just do live updates. It looks great for them to be able to say it on their CV, but it also is really good for you to get that live coverage, those live updates for any of the athletes that couldn't make it, or the parents or the fans, they're still able to follow it and see what's going on. And then additional income generation opportunities, ticket sites. We know this, or ticket sales. We know it can be really difficult. You have to have a volunteer on the gate, taking money on the day. Have you really got a spare volunteer to do that? Is it worth the hassle? Look at some of the sites online. Eventbrite, you can do these. There's loads of them that do this. And it can all be paid for in advance. And they come along with their phone, and you can scan it using your phone. So it's quicker, and it's already prepaid, so you don't have to have that issue of trying to deal with money. Yes, you still have to have someone there, but it can speed things up a little bit. Event program I've mentioned, stand space, training and workshops. Again, depending on your event, another way of doing this is thinking about what other opportunities can I get that people can pay for? So if there is a coach that you know who's really good, and actually you're good mates with them, say, will you come along and do it? We need to generate some income. And you do it, that it's a paid for session. And if it's someone who's reasonable, people will be interested in this. Hotel partner. If your event has a lot of people coming and they're coming from out of town and they need to stay somewhere, hotel partners will often do you a discounted rate. And if you can get a couple of free rooms thrown in order for you promoting it to those people who are coming, that's a cost saving potentially for you or for a couple of your volunteers who are helping. And again, they can have their logo and a piece in the newsletter, in the program that your printing partner is going to be printing for free. And then add space in those. So this is very much a whistle-stop tour. I do hope it's useful in giving you a few ideas. But what I'm going to look at here is just a quick overview, something I would suggest all of you do when you've got 5 minutes, which I know is laughable. But if you have time, to just think about who your target audiences are. And it may be different. If you have multiple events, your target audiences will likely change. You'll have a primary audience, and then you'll have secondary. Think about who your primary audience is, focus on them, but don't forget the secondary audiences. Think how they want to engage with you. Think about what your level of brand or event awareness is. So who knows about your event? Is it just your athletes? If so, if your audience is actually, you might want it to go wider, think about them and find a way to communicate with them. Current event image reputation, is it good? If so, celebrate it, promote it, let people know just how good it is, rather than it just being word of mouth. Who your competitors are, what they do. If you know there's a competition, another event that's happening, that you go, people are going to that, they're raving about it, go along to it, see what they do and follow them. So sign up so you get their newsletter that you may not be doing, so you see their Insta posts that you may not be doing. It gives you ideas and it makes you think, okay, maybe it's worth doing it now. Equally, if there are other events that you know the organisers of, do a cross-sell. So say to them, I'll give you a stand at my event if you'll give me a stand at yours, because it enables you to promote your event to their audience. As long as you're not direct competitors, which if it's at a different time, there's an opportunity there. And then again, think about your growth targets and your income targets, if you have them. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do with your events? Try and really think about it. It's literally, again, very difficult when you don't have the time, but if you can plan it out, it can then help you to achieve it a little bit quicker. I think you've all probably seen this before. It is very, very true. Volunteers are priceless. You cannot put a price on it at all, but you can promote yourself, what you do, you can celebrate them and give those volunteers a return on investment as well. So promoting your event makes them feel even more valued and even more worthwhile because they can see what they're achieving with you. That's it. So that's a very quick whistle-stop tour. If anyone does want to connect with me, I am digital. QR code, that will get you through to my LinkedIn profile. And again, I've got a holding page just to say, I'm Mark Oms. I left Women in Football June, July this year. I still only have a holding page up. It's shocking. How have I not got a website sorted? But I haven't. We're all in the same boat, okay? But that's up. Please do drop me a line and you've got my email. Thank you.